Hello, this is Gene Wilhelm again, and I'm here at St. Mary's doing the Red Sea Catholic Community Showcase, and we're highlighting a lot of things that are going on here at St. Mary's. And if you're tired of me, you only have about 20 more minutes to listen to me. And at this time, I've got Chris Schneider, who is going to talk to us about Aggie Awakening, and that is a big program here at St. Mary's, isn't it, Chris?
Yes, sir, especially for the students.
How about for the people that are running it?
Well, this is actually a retreat that is run by Texas or college students for college students. So it's put on by Texas A&M and Blinn students that happen to go to St. Mary's for other students that are going to St. Mary's. And so it's such a great opportunity for the students to not only have a retreat during their college experience, but also for them to meet other college students that have such a great start for their faith life to kind of get connected more into the community of the college students.
So what's your role in this? When your name was given to me as someone to talk to about Aggie Awakening, I didn't know why.
I was actually on leadership back in the fall. I was the table staff head for Aggie Awakening 102, and I was a speaker for Aggie Awakening 101 over the summer. And then my roommate actually was the coordinator for the one this semester, so he was in charge of everything overall. So in the recent year, I've kind of been a little more involved with Awakening than I had been in the past couple of years.
So tell me a little bit, what is a table coordinator?
So Awakening has a bunch of different staffs. We have table staff, cook staff, gophers, and a couple of others just kind of to make sure that the retreat runs smoothly. Everybody has to have a job to where we can make sure that things are going to happen the way that they are supposed to happen and that everything kind of works out the best for the retreaters. My job as table staff head was I was in charge of all of the table parents for Awakening and making sure that the table parents were effectively what we call small group leaders. There's a guy and a girl for each table. They're basically the mom and the dad of all the retreaters that are there, that are on their table. And so my job was to get 16 guys, 16 girls, pair them together, and effectively make sure that they're ready to lead a small group throughout the retreat.
Mm-hmm. So you've been doing this how many years now that you've been on the staff?
I made Aggie Awakening 89.
Which is a couple of years ago.
Yeah. We were approaching 104 this summer, and so this summer will have effectively been 5 years since I made Awakening.
So where are you in your journey across the street?
Well, it's kind of been up and down. I didn't really grasp what it meant to be a Catholic until I came to A&M. Aggie Awakening was my first real eye-opening experience to what it meant to be actually a part of the Catholic community. And whether that was just because I didn't click with my ministry back home to where it didn't kind of connect to me, or if I just needed to explain it a different way, that St. Mary's is kind of just, it opened my eyes up to where I kind of understood more.
I've been told that Aggie Awakening, pardon me, Aggie Awakening is similar to Acts and Crucio. Am I right in what I've heard?
I've heard that from other people too. I've never actually been on an Acts retreat, so I personally can't tell you. But I've had a lot of people tell me that they're similar, but that they each have their own unique aspects. I've heard that there are some Acts retreats that are kind of modeled after Awakening. But in the same sense, Aggie Awakening is still its own unique experience. And actually, there are Awakenings across the country at other schools as well.
But it started here.
Actually, it started at LSU.
LSU, okay.
We are just the longest running one right now because LSU started for a while, and then whether they didn't have the numbers or something, they had to kind of stop for a couple of years. And they've actually started back up again, which is great that they were able to continue that up again. We are the longest running consistently, I guess, how you want to say it, seeing as we're at 104, and I believe the next one is somewhere 50s or 60s.
Okay. So how many Awakenings are there a year?
There are 3. There's actually one every semester. We have one in the fall, the spring, and the summer. all of them are fully available for students to go to. Especially for the summer one, you don't have to be in College Station over the summer. You can signups for the summer one will be before school gets out for the year, so before finals, and you can actually sign up for that, go home for the summer, enjoy the time with your family, with your friends back home, and then the weekend of the retreat come up on that Friday, go through the retreat that weekend, and then you can go back home afterward, which is actually what I did. I made it as an incoming freshman over the summer, and that's another thing is for the summer awakenings, incoming students are allowed to go on that as well. And so I came up that Friday of awakening, we went Friday, Saturday, Sunday through the retreat, and then Sunday night I spent the night with one of my friends here, and then went back home Monday morning.
Mm-hmm. So I've seen the lists taped to the door here.
Yeah.
The Aggie Awakening office is right next door to this radio station. It's between us and the fertility care clinic, and I've seen that you can take like maybe 40 guys and 40 gals.
Yeah, they're
on a retreat, and you have like 80 or 90 waiting to come in.
Yeah. So what happens is we take 128 retreaters overall, 64 guys, 64
Okay,
girls.
I got the
to
numbers
keep it.
wrong.
It's sometimes it feels like that. Just to keep the numbers even with guys and girls, we try to make sure that each table has the same amount of guys and girls. Occasionally it doesn't happen. Occasionally we'll have some more girls go than guys, just from more girls will sign up generally.
Mm-hmm.
Especially,
imagine that.
Yeah. Guys, if you're listening, this is a great experience.
And it's a good way to meet women.
Apparently. And so what will happen is we will have so many people sign up every semester, and we only have signups open for one weekend a year, or one weekend a semester for whichever retreat happens to be that semester. So if it's like the Fall Awakening, we had them open for one weekend of the fall. We'd been announcing it like the weeks ahead of time, had it in the mass announcements. Hey, signups are going to be this weekend after all masses, just that Saturday and Sunday. And then it'll generally close at like 9:00 or something on Sunday night, just to give people time after the 7:15 mass to sign up in case they happen to just walk in after mass. Because what will happen is the leadership for that awakening will be in the student center all weekend with their computers, letting people sign up for the retreat. And so what will happen is you sign up, and we have so many people sign up that we just can't take them all. And so there will be a wait list.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it's a great problem to have. And with the fact that we have 3 retreats a year, if you don't make it one time, you can sign up again, and you're just as likely to go then.
So on the weekends that you sign up, it would behoove a person that really wants to go to the 5:30 mass and hightail it over to the student center here.
Well, actually, it's not first come, first serve. So what happens is everybody will sign up, and because of just the sheer volume of people that we have to randomly do it. So what will happen is they'll put it into like an Excel generator and just randomly assign the list to where we don't have any control over it. It's just random. It's in a random order. That way, there's no bias whatsoever to whoever gets there first.
So one of the things you might want to do is to come to the front desk and light a candle to take out on the quad there of St. Mary's, or to one of the, if it's a longer process, one of the other parishes that has the candles that last for a week or so.
Yeah, there's a saying that a lot of us on staff tell people that are signing up, especially those of us that have really good friends that just don't seem to make the list sometimes, and we tell them that you make it when you're supposed to make it, and that I've had a lot of people that they just tell me like, I really wanted to go this weekend, blah, blah, blah. And then, but I was just like, there's been times where I'm like, hey, whenever you're meant to go, you will go. And then when they do go on Awakening, they'll find me afterward and they say like, you were right. Like, I really needed to go this time. I had so many things that were kind of weighing me down, and this seemed to just key point all of those.
The other thing I think I understand is that there's always 1 or 2 cancellations, so you need to be ready at a moment's notice to make the retreat.
Yeah, actually, one of my really good friends from high school. I have a lot of underclassmen here that went to my high school, and so one of them, I was actually already out there at Awakening, setting up for stuff, and after the first talk, I happened to see him at a table, and I didn't see him when all the retreaters were coming in. And so I went up and talked to him. I was like, hey, I didn't even know you were here. And he's like, yeah, I got called at about 5:30 on Friday afternoon. And they were like, hey, do you want to go? And he said, yeah. He said, I threw clothes in a bag and I just hightailed it over to St. Mary's to make sure I could get there.
Mm-hmm. Now, the retreats aren't here at St. Mary's, are they?
No. Well, they're actually at St. Anne's in Somerville. They graciously let us use their parish 3 times a year for Awakening. They've been doing that for as long as I've been here, or as long as I've been doing Awakening, probably even longer.
So it's not a long trip to get there either.
No, it'll take us about 30, 45 minutes.
So it's just go down Highway 60 to, was it 36 and turn left?
Yeah. To 36, turn left, and then turn right in Somerville. But what will happen is we will actually rent buses for the retreaters to get out there. That way they don't have to waste any gas. We will drive them out there. We'll drive them back on Sunday.
That also makes them captives.
Yeah. Just kind of to make sure, like, hey, we want you guys to, feel as comfortable as possible. You could spend the entire time with the rest of the people on the retreat and just let them know that this is a community thing.
Is this another one of those retreats that begins with an evangelization to Jesus Christ to begin with? Or is it tearing down of what people, concept they have and rebuild them up? How does that work? I'm not asking you to give away a lot of secrets.
Yeah. So, I mean, every retreat has its own unique aspects. Aggie Awakening is no different. And as far as not giving away secrets, we don't you don't hear a lot about what happens at Awakening because we want people to participate and not anticipate. Just if people know what's coming up, they're more likely to focus on it. Whereas if you kind of let them just be like, hey, just enjoy the retreat for what it is, and they'll take things as they come. And it seems to, like, the people who do that, they seem to get more out of it.
Well, but I guess what I was saying is that a person should come out of there with a better relationship with Jesus Christ and know how to live it out in the community, because that you're building community at the retreat, correct?
Yes, and actually, with the way that we have things set up, most people do end up feeling like that, because you come in and we started off pretty easy, like, hey, this is what it means. Like, this is what it means to be a Catholic, like, and the whole kind of just ease them into it, and then by the end of it, they're pretty high up. It's more of like, you're coming in, and then we're sending you out. So
there's more to being a Catholic than slipping into the back row and sleeping during the homily on Sunday?
Yeah, just a little bit more. And so, but we actually, that actually is one of the first talks that they will hear throughout the weekend, is what it means to be a Catholic. And then we actually have a lot of various other talks throughout the weekend. I believe there are 9 different talks that they will hear throughout the weekend at Awakening. I'm
sure there's some guys that are there because the girlfriend is going, and they wanted to spend the weekend with the girlfriend, or vice versa, and maybe they're at a different place spiritually.
Yeah, I'd have to say there are probably a couple times that's happened, and you never know what's going to happen out at Awakening. Just, you may go there for one reason and end up leaving with something better. And so you may end up going out there just to kind of, get to, like, because one of your friends wanted you to go, and you may end up experiencing something throughout the weekend that really makes you connect with Jesus and just have a better understanding of your faith afterward.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say to somebody that's saying, gosh, that sounds like a lot of work, or that's not for me, or they're on the fence, and what's going to convince them to make an awakening? Or what could you say to help them make that decision to at least sign up for an awakening?
Yeah, I was actually, when I first made it, I was about that myself. Didn't know anybody at St. Mary's, and so when I got the phone call, I actually didn't sign up. Somebody had signed me up. And
imagine that.
Yeah. And so when I got the phone call, I wasn't even listening to the phone call until I heard them mention the word Aggie, and I was like, okay, I'm going to need you to repeat everything you just said for the last 5 minutes, because I wasn't paying attention to it at all. I'm really sorry. But when I was sitting there trying to decide, I was like, you know what? There's no bad thing that can happen to me if I do this. I told myself, like, the only place I can go from here is up, and like, there are some people that they'll kind of back out for tests or something like that. And my ultimate thing is, whenever the day is done, what is more important to you, your faith or whether you get an extra hour of sleep or if you get an extra hour to study? And so to me, the biggest thing is my relationship with God. And St. Mary's has kind of highlighted that for me.
I'd like to share with you, I made Cresil many, many years ago, and I made one on a Labor Day weekend. And I'd had somebody pestering me to do it for a long time. And my parents had expected me to come home for the weekend, and I used that as an excuse to not go visit them because I really didn't want to do it that weekend. Yeah. And yet it turned out that was the very weekend where I had a conversion experience. I mean, I was a Catholic, but I was a different kind of Catholic when I came out of there.
Yeah. And when I admitted, I was actually playing softball with my friends back home. Austin Diocese has a high school tournament every year. And that weekend happened to be a weekend that we had a game or something. And I was like, hey guys, I can't go. And they were like, you're one of our starts. And I was like, I can't go. Like, to me, this is more important. And it was one of those things that I didn't even realize what I was saying at the time because I'd never been to St. Mary's. But to me, like, it was something that just I had to do. And so it was kind of interesting. Just all of a sudden something became at the forefront of my mind, like I needed to go to this. And it really introduced me to the community of St. Mary's in such a way that I didn't even know was possible. Because Awakening is really ultimately giving me a family that I have been able to count on and lean on whenever I need them.
So your first few months at A&M weren't as lonesome, and it wasn't as drastic a thing as could happen for somebody that didn't have any connection here.
Yeah. I did happen to know a couple of my friends from high school that came here. I didn't really hang out with them or anything just because I wanted to get a new outlook on things. And so because I had made Awakening, I had all these friends from St. Mary's that I was able to kind of get to know better and hang out with, to the point that it really kind of gave me a new window to kind of become a new person. And it ultimately was so much better for me than I ever could have imagined.
So it really eased your transition into A&M.
Yes.
And I'm sure that many of your friends are members of the Aggie Awakening team or people that you've made Awakening with.
Yeah, I actually met both my roommates from Aggie Awakening, so it's kind of, and to me, they're like brothers to me. They're my best friends, and so it's Aggie Awakening has given me so many great relationships that I've continued to carry throughout the years.
So, how is that going to prepare you as you move on beyond A&M?
Well, it gives me plenty of connections. Once we all go off other places, I'll know people pretty much everywhere. In the same way that like an Aggie ring gets you to know people, it's kind of the same thing as St. Mary's. Like you get to know people from an organization like Aggie Awakening, and you get to know them so well that you have those connections for life. We're
just about out of time. Is there any last thing that you'd like to say, Chris?
Just the Summer Aggie Awakening is going to be July 17th through the 19th. If you haven't gone, I encourage you to sign up for it. Put it on your calendars. If you have gone, I highly encourage you to staff, as always.
Thank you, Chris, very much. We've been talking with Chris Snyder about Aggie Awakening.
Thank you very much.